Donald Trump has broken every single promise he made on the campaign trail, but he's been happy to do so because his cultists usually don't care. He promised them lower prices, now they're higher, and they go along with things because, again, this is a cult. But there are few examples in which promises broken by Donald Trump actually do trigger his MAGA crowd. And what happened last night when Israel struck Iran is one of them, with Marjorie Taylor Greene now speaking out against Donald Trump and what looks like this administration's plan going forward as the pro-peace candidate, which is one of the biggest lies we saw on the campaign trail, has to reckon with his no new wars promise. We're going to get into it all and what Marjorie Taylor Greene is now saying about this administration. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way in supporting the work that we're doing here. Now, before we can get into Marjorie and Trump, we need to start with what is happening in Iran right now, and that was all broken down by Senator Chris Murphy.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announcing last night Israeli strikes deep inside Iran that have effectively decapitated Iran's military leadership and taken out nuclear scientists as well. Joining us now, Democratic member of the Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. Senator, good morning. So when you heard the news of these strikes, you thought what?
Well, I think we all really worry about the risk to U.S. forces and U.S. interests. It appears as if this was an attempt by Israel to scuttle Donald Trump's negotiations with Iran. Of course, our preferred pathway here to keep Iran from getting a nuclear weapon is diplomacy. Now, it's nightmarish that we are in this position because under the nuclear deal negotiated by President Obama, we had effectively gotten Iran so that they were at least a year, probably more, away from a nuclear weapon. Now, it is true, Iran, if they chose to get a nuclear weapon, could probably get one within weeks. That's because Donald Trump, pushed by Bibi Netanyahu, pulled out of the nuclear agreement. But Donald Trump was back at the table trying to renegotiate a diplomatic agreement. And this strike by Iran is clearly a stick in the eye for the American president because in addition to striking nuclear facilities and at least one of their top research scientists, reportedly Israel also killed the chief negotiator who was negotiating with the United States of America. And so it's pretty transparent that this was an effort to submarine, to undermine our diplomacy. Iran is weaker than they were, so are their proxies, but they still have significant military power. And there is a risk in the coming weeks that there is going to be a regional war, that the United States may get dragged into it, and that Iran may ultimately target our forces around the region, many of which are not very well protected. And that's something that I think should be on the minds of every American and every American military family right now.
With that update on the ground and still so much unknown, one thing does continue to appear clear, that the rest of the world doesn't really trust or believe in Donald Trump. He is not the deal maker that he has always promised to be. He is not the master negotiator, and he's certainly not a strong man who has any ability to intimidate world leaders or to keep anyone in check. The chaos that Donald Trump causes is not just mean tweets, as Republicans like to frame it. It actually puts you in danger. And then he tweets about it, which is something that was very important before we get into Marjorie's response. Trump wrote, "I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know now, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come. And they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now, and it will only get worse." With that promise in mind from, once again, the pro-peace guy, Marjorie Taylor Greene and a lot of the isolationist wing of the MAGA party is not too happy. And she's making that clear in her very, very loud voice. Marjorie Taylor Greene ripped Trump Mideast policy, saying Americans don't want to bomb Iran for Israel. A top MAGA firebrand in Congress who has been a staunch supporter of Donald Trump has come out strongly against the president's policy of defending Israel against regional aggressors like Iran. Marjorie Taylor Greene joined the chorus of both America First isolationists and progressives opposed to the U.S. being drawn into a war with Iran, as she tweeted, "Americans don't want to bomb Iran because the secular government of Israel says that Iran is on the verge of developing a nuclear bomb any day now." Greene added that she doesn't know anyone that even thinks about Iran in her district. Her tweet came in a response to a flurry of reporting around Washington indicating that the State Department's decision to move non-essential embassy staff out of Baghdad, Iraq's capital, was tied to concerns about violence escalating in the region as a result of an impending Israeli attack. Indeed, on Thursday, Trump said to reporters that Israel's strike on Iran could very well happen, and of course did. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, quite unhappy that one of the bigger promises of the Trump campaign, no new wars, the peace candidate, is not playing out. Because, of course, it's not. Really, the bigger the promise for Donald Trump, the more public show that MAGA makes of caring about something, the less they actually care. Look at free speech. The free speech warriors, the free speech absolutists. Elon Musk bought Twitter because he wanted to make it a free speech platform. Well, what's the free speech policy of MAGA Republicans as of lately? Well, it's if a senator doing his job of oversight in his home state of California goes and asks a question, not lunges, by the way. I don't know where we got this lunge idea from that MAGA is pushing, but asks a question of Kristi Noem, he gets tackled to the ground and arrested. That's their free speech policy. That's the type of speech that they don't tolerate. Simple questions being asked. "Hello, Mrs. Noem. May I raise my hand and inquire about your illegal assault on my state? Oh, I have to get tackled to the ground now? Thanks, fascists." MAGA doesn't care. Of course they don't. These aren't principled people. Don't take them seriously. And I don't actually trust Marjorie Taylor Greene to continue to speak out against Donald Trump, but wow, just goes to show. Even she can recognize that he doesn't want to be keeping those promises. But on the point of Senator Padilla, we saw so many great responses from very brave Democratic senators yesterday calling this out. I think the best of them all was Senator Chris Murphy, and I want to take a look at that right here.
And so there is still time for us to come together and say, in this country, speaking truth to power, even in a disruptive way, is never rationalization for violence. But I will tell you, the first couple statements from my Republican colleagues are deeply worrying. They misread the fundamental nature of this country. And if we now live in a world where simple disagreement, vocal disagreement, where protest with this administration becomes justification for violence, I don't know how you can define that as America any longer. And as someone who was sitting in this chamber, I think this very same desk on January 6th, it shouldn't be lost on us that there are forms of political protest that are protected by this administration, celebrated even. And then there are forms of political protest, as you saw today, that are met with violence. There are individuals out on the street today in America who just a few years ago were in this building or on the outskirts of this building beating the hell out of police officers, viciously, savagely attacking police officers, tasers to the throat, rendering those police officers unconscious, metal poles being hammered onto the heads of police officers. In an exceptional moment, the President of the United States, in celebration of their violence, pardoned them, put them back out on the street, sending the unequivocal message that if you engage in violent protest on behalf of the White House, you get out of jail free. Pair that together with the message that is being received by the American public now on a daily basis, most prominently and visibly today. That if you engage in peaceful protest, Senator Padilla was asking a question
He identified himself as a United States Senator. Of the administration, you will be met by violence. You carry out violence on behalf of the White House, you are excused. You lodge normal, protected protest against this White House, you are thrown to the ground and handcuffed, even if you're a United States Senator, though it should not matter. And so the early reaction here, it should be chilling. Because once this becomes normalized, I don't know how you put it back in the bottle. We shouldn't assume that this democracy survives forever. This is a revolutionary experiment 250 years in. It's fragile. This idea that we govern ourselves, this idea that we respect through rule and force of law people who disagree with us. 0.0001% of humans have ever lived under a system like that, in which they decide for themselves the law. Their protest, even against the most powerful people in the country, is protected by law. That idea is unnatural. It is in some ways almost destined to fall apart. And yet, for 250 years, we have not let it fall apart. We have decided that our fealty to that idea of free speech, of protected free speech, even if it rubs up against the ruling elites, the ruling class, the White House, the most powerful people in the country, in an uncomfortable way, will be protected. And so for 250 years, we have together, Republicans and Democrats, decided that that principle of free speech was more important than our political stripes, than loyalty to our party's leader or our party's ideas.
I think we really need to make an issue of this. I think this is a political winner for us. I think the assault that we have seen on the ability for students to express themselves on their college campuses, attacked by the Trump administration, now senators attacked by the Trump administration, is a great way to reframe this discussion about who's really trying to suppress speech. And I think it's important to do so. There's a lot of people who talk about this issue and care about it without actually, of course, paying attention to it. And I think we should do outreach to them and say, hey, if you actually care about this, look who's the one who's actually coming after your speech. Now, they might not be coming after you now, but wait until you say something they don't like. And they seem to be happy to do whatever. So let's try to make this message clear. We're going to be doing so in this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.